Alright everybody, I have another Shadow Assassins tutorial that I'm about to do, sort of going into what I talked about in the previous video, and that is simplifying drawing. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm basically just going to start with a hand and break down how to start seeing with your mind instead of seeing with your eyes, in a sense, using your brain, or using your mind, not your brain, to figure out drawing and figuring out what you're looking at. And we're going to use a hand as an example today. So I just took a picture of my hand, and before I even get into this, just for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to explain this right now, and also bear with me because I'm using this tablet. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, drawing with this tablet on occasion, it's a process in of itself. So if lines aren't exactly meshing up the way that it should, just bear with me. You get the general idea of what I'm trying to do. But in any event, right now I have a square, I have a triangle, I have a rectangle, what is those five-sided figures, a trapezoid. Maybe I need to go back to geometry class. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a shame I had to count that out. Just a bunch of different shapes right now that I'm creating. And the reason why I keep making these shapes is because this is pretty much all we're going to use from now on this channel. This is what we're going with right here. All this stuff that is surrounding, or that is surrounded, or in the inside surrounding, what the hell am I talking about right now? Bear with me. But all the stuff inside of this blue circle, or whatever that is that I just drew, these shapes, these 6 shapes, is what we're going to be using to figure out how to use our mind to draw. And what I mean by that is, everything in life is shapes. Everything that you look at is a shape within a shape. Everything is just, that's just a simple way to break stuff down. We're all the same thing. All objects are the same things. We're like, I'm not even going to get into all that right now, but nothing is as complicated as it actually looks when you break it down, and you can break stuff down simply. Let's look at this picture that I have of a hand, for example. What we're going to do is we're going to break this hand down into nothing but simple shapes. And when you do that, you'll be able to easily figure out how to start creating drawings and creating art of your own. And then I'm going to do a tutorial at a later date where we're actually going to start just using these simple shapes to start drawing and making pictures, just to break stuff down easily for you. But let's look at this hand for a second, and let's just break this down in the forms that it is. To start off with, and everything I draw over top of this hand is pretty much going to be in red. And I'm going to turn the opacity down on this. Oh, that's not going to work. Hold on a second. Should have prepared for this before I started this video, but whatever. Alright. This hand, I'm actually going to turn the opacity down so you'll be able to see when Alright, that's better. So you can see the lines when I start drawing over top of it. But you should still be able to see the hand right now. If you look at this and people just start trying to outright draw what they see here, and it's like, okay, so I'm going to try, and this is what the hand looks like. It's got fingers, and this is the thumb, and this is what we got, and this is a hand. No, that's almost like a turkey or something. That's not a hand, but you know, you say, I want to draw, this is what you come up with, this is how stuff looks to you, and you say this is a hand and it looks like garbage, and then you tell yourself you can't draw. And it's like, you can figure this out better than this. Look at it this way instead of just looking at the shape and trying to replicate what you see. Let's simplify the actual shape. The base of the hand can pretty much break down to a square or something close to it. So if you were to look at a hand this way, and note this is not going to completely line up, doesn't need to right now. if you was to break down the actual base of the hand that way, a simple square, and then this outer piece where the thumb comes out of this area right up in here, you could break that down into another triangle almost. So you basically just come out here and go back, and then from there you would have the wrist. What I typically like to do, just to make sure that I see the joints that are usually there to occupy the wrist, connecting it to, I guess, the arm and whatnot, I just put a circle there, but that's for references of when I'm actually drawing figures and poses and whatnot. I'll get to that in a later video, but for right now, just to simplify this, just make another square rectangle just to get the gist of the hand right there. So you already have a base. There's just 3 shapes, 3 of the exact same shapes that we have right here. We're using this, we're using this, and we're using this, and already you damn near have a hand. Now, looking at the actual digits of the hand, you pretty much have, and we're going to go with one finger right now. There's a finger here, there's the digit there, and you can pretty much go to this area right there where there's another bend, and then we have this at the top. I don't know why my hands are so crooked like that, but that's a whole nother discussion. Anyways, and looking back at the thumb, you look at where the thumb meets. I guess in theory you could make another triangle right here and then build upon with the rest of the digits, but I'm not even going to complicate it that bad. You could still look at the thumb and break it down in this form and just use more rectangles and squares and break that down. Now when I get rid of the hand, look at that. It actually looks like the shape of a finger. No, we're just drawing with simple shapes. These are simple shapes that you learn when you were in preschool and kindergarten, and already looking at a real life reference, you can already picture in your own mind how to draw. So going from here, you should use another digit for this finger. And I'm pretty much just going to repeat this process for the rest of the hand. And that's all there really is to it if you want to simplify and break down how to look at almost drawing in a sense. It's not, it takes practice to be able to sort of break stuff down like this in your mind. Eventually you won't have to do stuff like this. Like you won't even have to go through the step that I'm telling you to do right now of actually finding all the shapes within the shape. But this is a good way to start. You already have a hand. That looks closer to the head. Excuse me. This weather. Alright, sorry about that. But you already can see the hand where it is right now. And that's a lot better than what we had at the beginning, where we were trying to get the shape of the hand and we had the approach of, you just have whatever the hell this is. And you just have the fingers and there's this thumb and here's the shape and I can't draw anymore. I don't know how to draw. No. Simply using simple shapes and breaking down what's in front of you, you can actually simplify the basis of a hand and come up with this. This looks a hell of a lot better than this does, doesn't it? Even though in theory this still isn't a hand. But from here, you can sort of create a base for actually making the hand. So if I was to use this, and I may be getting more complicated than what I originally wanted to in this video, but if you use this as your base, and from there, why do I have caps lock on? Actually start to round the shapes out. You may be able to start to formulate the hand on your own without having to make things overly complicated. Now, because I'm using the 3D software program, I can cheat like this and sort of quickly go over the form of the hand. But if you was to try this with like regular pencil and paper, you can learn the exact same way. It's the same result at the end of the day. I have no idea my messed up fingers. I don't know why my index finger is shaped like this, but whatever. Alright. So get rid of this. Alright. In no way, shape, or form is what you're looking at right now an actual hand, but it's much closer to what you saw at the beginning. This resembles more of a realistic hand than what you originally were looking at. It's not too far off. So that's how simple and that's how easy you can make drawing if you really pay attention to it. And like I said, that's not perfect by no means, but that's a hell of a lot better than that, which is how a lot of people just start out drawing and just call it quits. It's like you can train your mind to be better than that if you just break stuff down simply. And honestly, I would have been better off just going back and look at the hand and going through and tracing the hand. It probably would have been more accurate, but I don't want you tracing this. I want you to trace this, and I want you to get used to these simple shapes so you can start to look back at the actual hand and the form of the hand itself so you can figure out where to go from there. It'll start to make sense later on. But basically, you use the simple shapes, these right here, if Photoshop will cooperate right now, and use these forms to replicate actual life, and then take the forms that you create and sort of go around it to create the basis of what you're trying to make here. And we'll start doing more of this in the future, to where we'll start actually not even use a reference and just try to replicate something like a hand or anything else using basic shapes. Like I said, you can do this with pretty much anything in life, anything at all. So that was it, just a simple quick tutorial and just breaking down form in the simplest way that I know how. If you're trying to learn how to draw and you can't wrap your mind around it, or you don't know where to go, or you can't put what you're seeing on the pen and paper, or whatever the case may be, whatever your hang up is, just start to try and look at things in a simple form and see where you get from there. Alright, I'm out.